2025 has come and gone, and it's been another incredible year for the Steam Deck. From cozy indies to massive open-world RPGs, these are the top 20 most played games on the Steam Deck for the past year. Without further ado, let's jump in with number 20. At number 20, Fallout 4 is still doing what it's always done, wandering the wasteland, hoarding junk, and somehow starting just one more quest at midnight. On the Steam Deck, a medium to high mix gets you between 40 and 60 FPS depending on what you're doing, and you're looking at roughly 2.5 to 3 hours of battery on the OLED, which is pretty solid for a full open world Bethesda game. This game was somewhat tight with No Man's Sky, but with Season 2 of the TV show coming out, it's made its way back into the top 20. At number 19, The Binding of Isaac Rebirth. Isaac is all about clearing rooms, dodging bullet hell patterns, and breaking the game with item synergies. It runs at locked 90 FPS max settings, and you easily see 7 to 8 hours of battery, which is why it's always installed and why people still keep playing it after all these years. At number 18, Dave the Diver is that loop of diving for fish during the day and running the sushi restaurant at night that keeps players hooked. It has a ton of mini games, it hits 90 FPS on max settings, gives you 4 to 5 hours of battery life, and just feels perfect for long chill sessions on the Steam Deck. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt at number 17, this just proves people are still happily replaying one of the best fantasy RPGs ever made. Running in DX11 mode on high, you see 40 to 45 FPS with about 3 to 3.5 hours of battery, and the game still feels shockingly good in handheld form. It's even been released on the Switch, and you can pick it up for very cheap during the Steam sales. At number 16, we have Slay the Spire. This is all about building a broken card deck run by run, planning turns, and slowly snowboarding into something ridiculous. This is a great game, and on the Steam Deck it's perfect. You can play it at 90, 60 or even 30 FPS with barely any power draw, and you can expect 7 to 8 hours of battery without thinking about it. At number 15, Brotato. This is pure arena chaos, one of the first bullet hell games, auto shooting, dodging enemies, and stacking dump upgrades until the screen explodes. It runs at 90 FPS on max settings. It gives you 5 to 6 hours of battery life, which is pretty standard for this type of game. At number 14, Skyrim just does what Skyrim does. At high settings, you can get 60 FPS, over 4 hours of battery life on the OLED, and you can also mod the hell out of it, and it will still run pretty fine. This game just refuses to age. Maybe we'll see the end of it once Elder Scrolls 6 comes out. Hopefully, it's gonna be this decade. At number 13, we have Vampire Survivors, the game that reignited the bullet hell genre. It's very minimalist, but it's built entirely around dopamine-driven progression and screen-filling chaos. It runs at 90 FPS with 5 to 6 hours of battery life on the OLED. Late game runs can dip when the screen gets completely wild, but it still runs absolutely amazing. At number 12, Elden Ring. From Software's open-world Souls-like delivers brutal combat, exploration, and boss fights on a massive scale. Even though on medium settings it runs only at around 40 to 45 FPS, there's been a lot of players who completed the whole game on the Steam Deck. With the DLC that released last year, it's no wonder that this is so high up on that list. It offers around 2.5 hours of battery on the OLED, and with a 45 FPS cap, I think you're gonna have a great time playing this one. At number 11, Hogwarts Legacy. This game is discounted to like $5. You can pick it up right now in the winter sale. This is an open world action RPG set in the Harry Potter universe. It's filled with exploration, combat, and story quests. With a low to medium mix and FSR, it will run at around 30 to 40 FPS. Some areas are gonna be tougher than others, and battery life is pretty short at around 2.5 hours, but it's still a pretty good experience on the Steam Deck. Quick pause here: if you're enjoying this kind of Steam Deck content, consider leaving a like on this video and subscribing to the channel. It really helps out, and I've got a lot more Steam Deck, Steam hardware, and Steam overall content incoming in 2026. Let's get back into it. At number 10, Red Dead Redemption 2, a cinematic open-world western with one of the most detailed game worlds ever made. Using mostly medium and low settings with ultra textures, it runs at around 30 to 40 FPS for about 2.5 hours of battery life on the OLED. This game also has great multiplayer that works on a Steam Deck. The only negative about this game is that it installs the Rockstar Vulture, but you only have to deal with it the first time you install it. spot. At number 9, Hades, the original one, a fast, stylish roguelike built around tight combat, story progression, and incredible soundtrack. It runs at 90 FPS on the OLED max settings, it feels perfect on the controller, and you can get about 5 to 6 hours of battery life out of it. At number 8, a new addition this year, Megabonk. This is the third-person take on all of those bullet hell games. It's a surprise indie hit. It focuses on very tight combat, instant feedback, tons of dopamine, just pure fun. It runs at 90 FPS, but it can dip down to 40 FPS when the screen fills with a lot of enemies, and this type of games, they will usually fill your screen with a lot of enemies. I still think it's a pretty good experience on the OLED, and you can expect up to 4 hours of battery life. At number 7, Cyberpunk 2077. This is the densest open world RPG. It's set in Night City, packed with quests, combat, story-driven choices, very cool driving mechanics. Using the Steam Deck preset with FSR3 on quality or balanced, it will run pretty nice at 30 FPS. You can push it past 30 FPS on the lowest settings, and you can get between 40 and 60 FPS. If you're in the middle of the city, it's gonna be around 30 FPS. But for the most part, you are looking at just a little bit over 30, mostly 40. Battery life is about 2.5 hours, so it's not battery friendly at all, but it still runs pretty nice. At number 6, the original Hollow Knight, a beautifully hand-drawn Metroidvania focused on exploration, precision combat, and atmosphere. It runs flawlessly at 90 FPS, delivers 6 to 7 hours of battery life. It just looks incredible on the OLED display. People picked this back up in anticipation to the sequel, that's why it's so high up in charts. And talking about the sequel, at number 5, Hollow Knight Silksong. The long-awaited sequel finally came out in September, and it just builds on everything that made the original special, with faster combat, vibrant visuals, and just overall feeling really nice. It runs at full 90 FPS on max settings. It offers more than 6 hours of battery life on the OLED. It's incredibly well optimized out of the box, and it's just a must-have experience. At number 4, Baldur's Gate 3, the massive turn-based RPG based on D&D rules, featuring deep role-playing and branching storylines. This one is still this high up the chart with a low and medium mix. You can expect around 30 FPS most of the time. The developers recently released a native Linux build that runs even better on the Steam Deck, though in Act 3 it will push the hardware to a limit. You can see some dips below 30 FPS, but a lot of people have actually experienced the full game on the Steam Deck, and it's a pretty good experience. At number 3, Hades 2, the refined sequel that expands on the original with new weapons, systems, a smoother combat, a new hero. It runs at 90 FPS on high settings, it offers 4.5 to 5 hours of battery life, and it stays impressively stable even during intense fights. At number 2, Balatro, a roguelike deck builder based on poker mechanics that somehow becomes instantly addictive. In fact, I recommend you don't play this game because you're gonna be stuck in it and you're not gonna experience the other nice games on this list. It runs at 90 FPS with max settings, but you can play it at 30 FPS to get more battery life out of it. You realistically don't need more than 30 FPS. It will last for 6 to 7 hours of battery life on the OLED. And finally, at number 1, always at number 1, Stardew Valley. This is a cozy farming and life sim that's endlessly replayable. It's perfect for handheld gaming. It runs at 90 FPS. You can run it for more than 8 hours on the OLED. You can even make it last longer if you play it at 30 FPS. This is absolute Steam Deck perfection, and it's really no surprise that it's still at number 1 spot. And that's gonna be it. That's the top 20 most played Steam Deck games of 2025. This list was provided by Valve, and I'll leave a link in the description. You can check out actually the top 100 games played on the Steam Deck for 2025. Let me know in the comments how many of these lived on your Steam Deck this year, which one was your number 1, and are there any games on this list that you never played and maybe you're looking forward to finally experiencing them in 2026. Thank you for an amazing 2025. This is going to be the last video for the year. It's been an incredible year both for the channel, for me, and for the Steam Deck. Thank you all once again for watching, and I'll see you guys next year and in the next video.